Hello, grandfather. Welcome. I know you're here because you want to take excellent care of your grandchild. Thank you for being with me. So, I'm going to start with a story that's very alarming, just to give you the sort of basic intensity of the topic of caring for an infant. I was in the supermarket the other day, and a woman started sort of emoting and crying in the aisles, gathering a group of women around us. She couldn't hold it together anymore, she said, because the paternal grandfather had killed her grandchild while babysitting. And he didn't mean to. He was just applying masculine logic to each issue that he encountered. So let's go over it so that you don't make the same mistake anywhere close. You're not going to. You're going to be great at this. You're going to bond with this little child and treat the situation with the sensitivity and the dignity that it requires and deserves. So, masculine logic in his case said, a machine can do it better than me. So, he wrapped the baby in an electric heating pad, which says right on it, never use upon children, much less an infant. And he turned it up and left the room. And when the baby cried, he didn't go in because, second masculine logic, he should toughen up. He's just annoying me and crying. Let him cry himself to sleep. He's being a troublemaker. So now, first of all, no machine can do it better than you, okay? Your arms, your love, your presence, your sensitivity. You can watch the facial expressions of your grandchild because that's all they really have. They don't have words yet, right? So let them speak to you through their sounds and their facial expressions and respond with trying things out, okay? Now, the second thing about shutting the door, so that when the baby cries, this idea breaks the bond between human and human, because when a little baby is not picked up when they cry, when they're little, they learn no one cares and they become a little bit autistic in their lives. So that was the second mistake. And then his thing was, I'm more important than the baby. I need my ball game and my beer time. So I'm going to turn up the volume on my game TV so that then he could not hear the quality of the cry too, because every little cry is a little different. Some is just a little whiny thing, some's a little fussy, some's like really upset, some is like life and death. And you want to have that child next to you even when they're sleeping, and you've got to turn your music down and your TV down. Babies are 100 times more sensitive. Their bodies are 100 times more sensitive than ours as we get older. So if you warm up milk, you've got to test it on your wrist, okay, for the baby, because if it's too cold, it'll give them terrible stomach cramps. And if it's too hot, it will burn them. So literally, by putting a few drops of the milk on your wrist, which is very sensitive, you'll have more of an idea of the temperature, if it's right for baby or not. So now we're getting into more of like that disconnect from the feminine, from the heart, from the not even knowing, like, who knows anymore what real divine feminine wisdom is, because so much has been lost as the world becomes more mechanized and women go into the workforce, and especially grandpas. You guys, you've come from a generation where you were sort of, many of you, forced to work constantly, didn't get to bond with your own family and children. And you're going to do it differently now, okay? So the first thing is to understand bonding. When you hold baby to comfort baby, however long it takes, and you keep responding to the little, if it needs a burp or it needs to have some attention, or if it just needs to be swayed and rocked, what happens is this deep, soulful connecting together. I know a little boy whose father volunteered to be the one to take care of him at night when he cried, whenever he cried. And the mom was like, great idea, because I need my sleep. I'll do day, you do night. But what she didn't realize was that when the baby was in his most distress, it was in the night. And so when it was only father who came, that child bonded with the dad like no one else. And he would never, the rest of his life, when he really needed something, go to the mother. Because in his mind, she was not the one who was the primary caretaker, even though she was the one primarily there all day long. But the father was the one there in his deepest need. So you want to be that grandpa, okay? But one of the things to really, really watch out for is the grandpa ball game ethic where the baby becomes a ball. Like, I'm going to bounce baby, I'm going to throw baby up and catch baby and get them to trust me by, baby might be learning about trust and falling, but you're going to destroy your relationship with your daughter and your wife if you treat the child like something that if you just miss the ball, the baby dies, and like that's okay risk to take. You got to understand the women, we pray for years and years for this being to come. We wait for every circumstance. We watch our periods and we go through birth control, constant hassles to be able to have that child. And then we carry the child for 9 months and we care that this child survives. Every second is a moment of, it's a new kind of war. Like you're a warrior, right? So if you're going to go into this, go into it with like, yeah, this is my peaceful warrior waking up. I'm going to get this. I'm going to be like so present. Okay. And make sure this child survives. So instead of being on the battlefield where you make sure somebody dies and only take care of yourself and your buddies, this is the opposite. You're going to make sure somebody lives, and it's communal. It's not just them. It's the family. It's the mama. So if you do risky things, other kind of risky things with a child, you're going to damage your relationship with your daughter and your partner so deeply. You have no idea. They won't see you the same if you take those risks and act like it's okay because it's your ego wanting to be a, fun grandpa. They don't care. The women don't care about who's fun or your reputation or your showing off. It's all got to go. All of that, right? So who are you? You're this loving man. You haven't had a chance to let it out and really lavish this baby in the way that you never got. You got overworked. You got told that disconnect was what you should do. You got told not to cry. You got physically abused. You were probably circumcised the moment you were born. And imagine that, circumcision for a little baby. Like, they're hundreds of times more sensitive, and people are like, it's a baby, it won't feel it. That's the opposite. It shows in scientific research that babies who are circumcised, that you take a picture of their brain before circumcision and afterwards, it's a completely different brain pattern. The shock and the trauma is so intense that it reforms the brain. Okay? It's not true that you can go in and do these brutal things that are in the name of tradition, leaving the door shut, not answering the baby's sounds. You are here to prove that change is possible, love is possible, and devotion from a man can be just as intensely wonderful as the mama bear, because you as the papa bear are all there. All right, I'm praying for you. You got this. You can do it. You should read some books on it. You should, don't just take my word, like really look up emotional attachment parenting, bonding parenting, because the old school stuff that's all about the parent's convenience to make the baby stop, to make it do this or that. Babies aren't supposed to be made to do anything, okay? They are to be served. When it's a baby's time, when it's a little infant time, everybody needs to be in service to the baby, but not in that American way where like, hi baby, what do you want? You want this, you want that, making the baby the parent. Not that either. It's like you're the guide, you're the, and of course, as they get older, you're going to give boundaries with love, but to start with, think of yourself as a divine masculine servant to the divine feminine principle of life-giving and life-sustaining, okay? And then later on, you can be in your divine masculine of protecting and defending and all that, but not when you're a babysitter. Get girly, okay? Much love. I know you can do this. Beautiful.